friends, and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Morgan and you are on my homestead here in Wyoming, and today we are going to answer the question, is raising chickens cheaper than buying eggs right now? I went ahead and crunched all of the numbers, and I'm going to tell you what we spent on getting the chickens ready, everything that we use to keep them alive, and then how many eggs we're getting and what our price per dozen eggs is here on our homestead. So I'm super excited for it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you first off the items that we use here on our homestead every single day. So if you're looking to start with chickens, here's some of the items that I would consider. We've got Cowgirl here. Here are some of the items that I would consider necessary when it comes to starting chickens and making sure they have everything that they need. So let's go ahead and jump into the chicken coop, and I will show you all of those necessities we have, along with the prices for it. All right, so it is the dead of winter. This coop has not been cleaned in quite some time, but I wanted to show you how we use everything specifically in the winter. So we have a few of these rubber bowls, and we use these kind of all around. I use them for feed, but I also use them for water. What's really nice about these is if they freeze, you can kind of move them so they don't crack when they're frozen. So you can kind of move them, flip them upside down, stomp on them, and the ice will come out. So these are really super nice to have in the winter. These are, sorry, we have cats running around. These are $13 each here where I live. I just looked up the price. So we have two of them inside, so I consider that $26. So then we have these feeding tubes. They were 10 feet in length and then 4 inches around. And then we put a elbow joint or a U-joint at the base of them. So we cut the 10 foot in half and then use 2 of them, and we use these as our feeding tubes. So where I live, the 10 foot PVC pipe was $43. The 2 U's were like $5, I think it was. So it was about $53 in total for us to make these feeders. Then behind that, I have a waterer. And this is just from Tractor Supply. It has a bunch of little nipples going all around it. So the chickens can get water that's not frozen all winter long. I think the water was about $35. And then inside that, we have a Frost King cord, which is basically just a heated cord that then goes into the hole we drilled in the top, coils inside this, and then runs down into an outlet. This Frost King was $40 and does awesome in keeping the water unfrozen. Then you'll also notice the straw that I'm standing on. So this is really important because it's used as insulation for the chickens in the winter. So we put about 3 bales of straw in the winter, and then we use about 2 bales in the fall and summer and spring. So we probably average about 10 bales of straw per year. We don't grow the straw. We do in fact buy it because we only grow alfalfa and the chickens like to eat that. So we just buy the straw at Tractor Supply. And I think that's like $18 right now per bale for the straw. Obviously that fluctuates a ton, and it's the super compact bales. So we do get a lot out of it, but that's probably about $18 per bale, and we get about 10 bales throughout the year. So that will definitely add up as well. Then I'm going to take you outside and show you the electric door that we use, and we can go on pricing for that as well. Today is an exciting day. We got 3 eggs. The blue one in the very back is a fake one, but the brown ones are real. All right, the next expense you have to consider with chickens is housing and fencing. So you need to think if you want your chickens to be free range or if you're gonna give them a coop. Ours have a coop, a run, and are also free range. So I have to fence them in so that when they're in their run, they're safe from predators. So luckily for us, the coop, the fencing, and the run for everything were already done when we moved in. So for us, it was free. I would estimate that the coop probably cost about $200 to put together, and the fencing was easily $200, assuming they bought it all new. So those are also really important things you need to consider, is where are you gonna put them and how are you going to keep them safe from predators? So that's what we use. We also have predator lights that are around the perimeter of our property. I think those were only about $10 or $20 on Amazon, so we do keep those up year round. They work really, really well. We haven't had any issues with coyotes since we put those up. So that's another expense, but that's about a once every 3-year expense because they are solar panels. So next, I will take you to the chicken coop door. That's probably where we've incurred the most expense, but it's the one thing that I will never go without again. Okay, I have talked about this before in some of my previous videos, but if I were to ever make another coop or move our chickens, this is the one thing I will never go without again. I used to run out here when we first moved and run out here in the mornings in my robe, freeze my little booty off because we had a manual door that we would pull up and down on a pulley system. And after about a month, I realized that is not sustainable. We can't go on vacation, and when the weather's bad, there's no way to get fresh air or let the chickens out. So we found this chicken guard. I actually found it on Amazon, and this is our second one. I will never go back. I'll link it down below for you guys if you're interested, but this is the premium version, and so what that means is it goes off of the sunlight. There is a sunlight detector here, so when it detects sun in the morning, it opens up, and then when it stops detecting sun, it closes this door. So our chickens literally put themselves to bed every single night. It gives them a little bit of a grace period, so it's not like it shuts immediately. And if your chicken coop is facing north or east, or the sunlight won't work, you can also pre-program it. So at a certain time the door will open, and at a certain time the door will close. And this is seriously such a blessing. So this is about $150, I want to say. This is our second one, but the part that's really nice is if this part breaks, you can actually just buy this. You don't have to buy the door and the tracks. So we bought the bundle when we first started with it, and now we're only using this to replace it. So it's super awesome. It runs off of 4 AA batteries, and I swear by it. This is the one thing I tell everyone about because it just works. I don't have to worry about them. It'll give you a notification when the batteries go low. We've had it out here in negative 35-degree weather. Feels like it was negative 60, and we didn't have any issues with it. The batteries drained a little bit quicker, but that was it. So this is the final thing that I will never live without. So let's go back into the barn, and I will run you through every expense, and we will figure out what it costs per dozen eggs here on our homestead in Wyoming. All right, so the final item I want to talk about is feed. We do feed our chickens year round, although they free range primarily in the fall, spring, and summer. We do feed them all year round. So I did go ahead, and I will share a screenshot of this at the end, put together a table of how many pounds of food we feed our chickens per month. And so we can kind of go through an average cost. So I have 24 hens, 1 rooster, and 2 ducks. So with that being said, I go through about 675 pounds of layer feed and 1,012 pounds of scratch feed per year, which is crazy. So we're spending on average about $880 on food. Now, if you're gonna only have a few chickens, that's not necessary. But one thing I do wanna mention is we have chickens of all age ranges. So probably about 15 to 17 of our chickens are 8 years old, meaning we're not getting an egg from all of those ladies every single day, even in the summer. And then the rest of the chickens are all under 3 years old. So they're laying really, really consistently in the summer. They do really well in the spring and fall, and in the winter they fall off. So that's another thing to note, and that will affect the amount of eggs you're getting. So on average, we are getting 188 dozen eggs per year, and we are coming in at about $8 per dozen for our eggs. And again, I'll show you all the calculations. Now, that includes a lot of the first year buys, so the chicken door, the feeders, the waterers. If you weren't gonna have that, we would average about $5 per dozen per egg, just assuming we're using just the feed and the reusing a lot of the things we already own. So right now we're at about $5 per egg, meaning we actually, or $5 per dozen, meaning we actually are saving money currently owning chickens throughout the entire year versus buying eggs. So in the winter we lose money, in the summer we have more than enough eggs, but that's kind of a little bit of the average. So I thought this was super fun. to go through and figure out exactly how much we're spending on our chickens. This isn't something we normally do, but I just was curious because the prices of eggs have been so high. I was thinking, am I even saving money anymore? And honestly, it's worth the enjoyment. It's really fun. But I was just curious. So turns out I am saving money right now. In the winter, I've had to buy about 4 dozen or so eggs because they completely stopped laying. But as you saw earlier, they're back at it again, so I'm excited to get our egg production and levels up again. Another thing that was not added into those calculations was electricity, water, and labor. Those all have their own expenses, but honestly, it's so minimal, I have no way of tracking how much electricity we're spending on the water heater and how much water we're giving them. So I don't know what those cost. I can't imagine it's that much, and I didn't add labor in because honestly, I get a lot of joy out of this, so I'm not counting my labor hours. So I hope you found today's video fun. If you have any questions about raising chickens and what it costs, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed today's video, I would ask that you consider liking it and subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for joining. Bye, friend.